What's going on, guys? It's your boy, the Dinkage, also known as Coach Brandon, back at it again with another video. Today, we're going to talk about the new Gen 3S. Alright guys, let's get into this video. Before I dive into my thoughts on these paddles, full disclosure, I am a JOOLA rep. However, all my opinions on these paddles are my honest opinion. I do not get paid from JOOLA to make these reviews. This is purely for my fun, my own entertainment and fun, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But like I said, these are not sponsored by any means for me to review for you guys. But let's talk about my thoughts on them. Pros and cons right away. I think the big pro is the power. It's definitely not that same power as the original Gen 3 we saw. It doesn't have that big trampoline effect as those Gen 3s. However, it still has really good power. I'm actually playing my paddle pretty heavy right now at about 10.6 ounces, so I'm able to get a little more free power than what you'll see with the stock version. But even with that said, a lot of my friends already tried out these paddles and they're saying the same thing. I love the power, I love the power, I love the power. A lot of players I see that typically don't have as much power are able to put balls away a lot easier. And I think the second kind of pro is, I think the control is phenomenal. It's definitely more control focused than the original Gen 3, but it's not gonna have that, super duper control focused paddle type of feel. But for a power paddle, I think it's very, very smooth. Now let's talk about the cons for a second. Where I felt like I struggled with this paddle initially was my serves and my dinks. I think just kind of adjusting to that free power for the first kind of 2 or 3 sessions made me struggle a little bit. But now that I've played with this paddle for about 2 weeks, I've never felt more confident and control with these paddles. I think we're seeing more and more paddles, more and more paddle companies, I should say, kind of go to this route of making more powerful paddles. So I think JOOLA is just ahead of the curve right now. But this is where the game's starting to really trend towards. So just keep that in mind as you're kind of shopping for your next paddle. But I think let's talk about the aesthetics for a second. I really enjoyed these paddles, how they look. I think it looks way better than the original Gen 3. But that's just my opinion on things. You can decide in the comments down below what your thoughts are. But let's talk about the different models available for these paddles for a second. There are 9 versions of these paddles, I believe, that are coming out, or already out, I should say. There's the 2 Perseus versions, there's the 2 Scorpius, the 2 Magnus. There's actually 3 Hyperion versions. There's a 14 Ben Johns model, and there's 16 Ben John and a 16 Simone version. The only difference with those 2 16mm versions is the Simone one is in blue, the Ben Johns is in green, and also that the Simone version has a slightly smaller grip in terms of the circumference of it. Let's talk about the specs for a second. The average weight of a stock Hyperion is going to be about 8 ounces. It's 16.5 inches long. The paddle width is 7.5 inches, and it's going to have a grip length of 5.5 inch with a grip circumference of 4.25. I'm going to post those stats in the video for you guys to see, but those are just kind of my initial thoughts with these paddles. But now that I've kind of played with it and drilled with it for a couple of weeks, I love it more and more every time I play with it. I fall in love with this paddle more and more. From the looks of it, I love this minimalistic design they have starting to trend towards. I know people have been asking JOOLA, start making those alpha designs, part of the mainstream thing, but this is a good start for them. It looks way better. It's not as messy for me. I think some of the other ones looked good initially, but the look was just kind of messy. I love this kind of more blackout, JOOLA, that's on the logo, that's the whole full design. So, and I think with these paddles, so many companies are starting to kind of copy JOOLA. Not necessarily copy JOOLA, but kind of follow that kind of powerful paddle design. We're seeing paddle companies like Carbon, Rhombus, Vatic, so many other companies are starting to develop these foam technology in the paddles. So I think that's where the trend's going. Whether it's foam, whether it's not, it's definitely going to be more power focused as the game starts to develop more and more. I think big push is there's a lot of players coming from different sports now coming into pickleball, and they want the power. So it's just going to make the game faster. I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. I just see that's like a natural evolution of pickleball. But anyways, back to my kind of thoughts on, I'll speak mainly towards the Hyperion because that's the one I've been using. But I think it shines really with those hand battles and those drives. I feel like with my hand battles, I'm able to just kind of deflect that ball a lot easier and get, counter the put away a lot easier than, with some of the other paddles. I felt like a lot of times when I'm just blocking that ball, it just kind of gets it back in play, but doesn't do much. But with these Gen 3S, I'm able to come block it and really push the opponent back a lot more, allowing me to get an easier put away for the next ball, even an easy overhead for the next ball. I'll say with the serve, I definitely struggled initially, but I feel like now that I'm much more used to it, I would say the serve's actually a good weapon for me. I'm able to keep my opponents back a lot easier, able to just get easy, short returns, high returns, or even missed returns with these. And I think with my drops, now that I've drilled with it about 2 or 3 sessions, I've definitely honed it in a lot better, and I would say it's much smoother than when I was dropping with my mod TA15. I love the TA15. I just think it's not the right paddle for me. But with the kind of the aero hybrid shape, I'm able to get a faster, because with the lower swing weight, I'm able to get faster hand. I'm able to get better control on these drops. The Hyperion's always been known for great control. So, in terms of whether or not I recommend this paddle for you, definitely worth a try, right? If you like it, come back to the video and say, thanks for the review. But I think if you're one of those players that feels like you're not able to put balls away, this is the paddle I'm always going to recommend to people. This is what I personally use. This is what I would use whether or not I was with JOOLA. And that's my honest opinion. I just think it's, in my opinion, the best paddle I've tried in a long time. I honestly like it way more than the original Gen 3, just because I felt like the Gen 3 had too much power. This is kind of dialing it back a little bit, but kind of boosting with its control and spin. So with that said, that's my honest feedback with these paddles. I hope this helps you kind of decide on a future paddle. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below some other paddles you'd like me to try next. I will be getting my hands on the Ripple, hopefully early next week. I'll be putting out a video for you guys to check out. But with that said, I hope you guys have a great week. I hope you guys go out to the courts and play. I hope you guys think around and find out. With that said, Coach Brandon signing off. Peace.